Now in today's video, we're going to be running through my final draft ahead of match day 1 for Club World Cup Fantasy. Now, of course, before we dive into any of today's content, make sure you are liking the video, hitting that subscribe button as well if you are enjoying the Club World Cup content, and leaving a comment as well if you are a little bit stuck with what to do for your team for match day 1 or for the entire tournament as well. As you can see on screen, I have got my mini league code. Make sure you're going in there. We've pretty much got close to 1.5k people in there, which is absolutely ridiculous. We are one of the most popular leagues in the game itself. It would be absolutely amazing if we could hit that 1.5k threshold, and of course we will be giving away a prize to the winner. I'll try and find something when obviously we do get to that point and then award someone for doing so well to beat pretty much 1,500 other people, pretty much. Make sure as well you are following me on Twitter at FPLTom_. I've been doing some lives in recent days as well, obviously covering off your guys' draft. I'll be live as well for the deadline as well, where we will be doing team reviews as well, and the best place to get those sent to me will of course be on my Twitter, and of course I'm posting daily about Club World Cup content as well. Let's first off though start off with my chip strategy, the play that I'm going to do throughout the course of the tournament duration, shall we say. Let's start off first then with match day 1. I'm going to be playing the 12th man. I looked at the betting odds. Again, they've massively changed in favour of Bayern. They were roughly around 90 to 1 when I made this initial slide. They've now gone up to 180 to 1 for Auckland City to beat Bayern in match day 1. So I want to get basically 3 Bayern players within my starting 11, which means I do have to sacrifice one of Haaland or Mbappe. So the 12th man is going to be used to get one of those guys in there, because again, their projected numbers and their team's projected goal numbers are looking pretty delicious in that one. So we're going to go 12th man in match day 1. Match day 2, we're going to play the max captain chip. There are some absolutely succulent one-sided fixtures, as are in match day 1 as well. You could also play the max captain chip there, but I've decided to go for match day 2. I think on the 20th, there's 3 teams with great matchups. I want to have the captaincy covered off. I think it's a really difficult decision to kind of decide who I want to captain on that day. So I think this way I'm pretty much going to be covered. There's some, like I said, absolutely fantastic one-sided matchups. So playing the max captain in match day 2 is going to be the play for me. And it's obviously not the best play maybe for everybody, but for me personally, I do feel, looking at my team, that is where a lot of the strengths will lie. And then finally in match day 3, which you can't see on here, we are going to be playing the wild card. We're basically going to use that as a free hit. Get rid of all the players that have got hard or difficult games against each other. Obviously Juve versus Manchester City, Bayern have got Benfica, so we'll be looking to get rid of all of those players and focus on the teams that maybe need something to qualify. Obviously looking to avoid any sort of rotation risks as well, with some teams probably already through heading into the final match day as well. So a little bit of a free hit, have a little bit of fun with it. Then of course we do get unlimited transfers when we head into the knockout stages, and the mystery chip will become active. Obviously when that is active, we'll cover it on the channel, and the best time for you guys to be playing that chip. Let's move on then to some data from 11-5 for projected goals and for projected clean sheets. Of course, if you want to go check this out for yourself, I will leave a link in the description. An absolutely fantastic asset, but I do have to caveat this, saying that the same level of detail hasn't gone into what their usual Premier League numbers are. So maybe take some of these numbers with a pinch of salt. However, they are very, very similar to what is being kind of correlated with the betting markets if you use obviously the metrics there from SpreadX to pull projected goal numbers as well. So they're not too dissimilar. So I think the 11-5 model is still pretty good and pretty accurate to be using ahead of the Club World Cup. As you can see for match day 1, that Bayern fixture, oh my god, is absolutely delicious. 4.78 projected goals. The betting market, I believe, is a little bit higher, around 4.98 as well. So they're really, really fancying Bayern to do some serious damage. Like I said, you can get prices now of 180 to 1 for Auckland City to beat Bayern Munich, which is honestly unreal. I really think we've got to be targeting Bayern players. Elise and Kane for me should be locks in everybody's match day 1 drafts. Kane for captain as well on that opening day also is pretty much guaranteed. City's opening fixtures 1 and 2, also some pretty good projected goal numbers in there, so maybe Haaland a little bit of an underrated pickup. Real Madrid's also really decent across all 3 games. Kylian Mbappe, you imagine, is going to be a very popular asset. Chelsea in 1 and 3, maybe Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Madueke. could all be decent punts to potentially take a look on. Inter's group is pretty nice across the board, but I think their defensive numbers look a lot better than their attacking numbers. But still, maybe Lautaro Martinez could be a decent shout if you fancied a differential. I do believe he is currently under 5% owned. PSG assets, it's a difficult opening game against Atletico Madrid, so I probably would be looking more towards 2 or 3. If you're planning on wildcarding in match day 2, I know that's FPL Fran's strategy. If that was the case, I would actually have no PSG players heading into match day 1. I know there's some really high-owned players, but obviously no Dembele. It's been reported that he's going to miss out on the group stage. Hakimi, whether or not he can actually keep a clean sheet against a pretty rigid Atletico Madrid attack is going to be another one to maybe monitor, so probably would avoid them. Dortmund's group across the whole as well, there's some really good projected numbers in there, so I think, you know, the likes of Guirassy, Pascal Gross, Adeyemi could all be pretty decent pickups as well. Benfica, their standout fixture again is going to be against Auckland, so Pavlidis definitely going to be one of those players I would be looking to secure ahead of match day 2. Match day 1, not the best projected goal numbers. I still think he could be a really good asset against a kind of mixed Boca side heading into this tournament, but overall I still do believe there are probably going to be better forwards to target rather than Pavlidis in match day 1. Juve's numbers as well are really good. The play could be go for Kolo Muani in match day 1, then look to move to Pavlidis in match day 2. That could be a very, very popular pickup. I can see a lot of people doing both of those players currently under 5% as well, so you would get yourself the scouting bonus heading into that one. Let's finish up before we look at my draft with the clean sheet numbers. Again, Bayern really, really fancied. I think the betting markets are even higher, maybe 88, 89%, so any investment within the Bayern defense is also going to be pretty substantial. Even their match day 2 fixtures, you wouldn't have to worry too much about taking one of their defenders out with a 51% chance. 65% chance for City in match day 1, 57 in match day 2. If you're like me, you're going to wildcard in match day 3. Definitely think City, Inter, Juve defenders would be the ones that I would be looking at in terms of building my backline. The only problem with Manchester City, their most popular asset, Gvardiol, potentially is a little bit weaker. They've signed obviously Ait-Nouri now, so he, you imagine, will probably start to play in that left back role. Whether or not he's going to come straight into the side is a different story, but I do believe he'll probably be occupying that left back role, which means then that Gvardiol goes to centre back, and then you're probably going to have Ruben Diaz, so maybe that loses the appeal of a Kanji as a differential as well. It's going to be really hard to call that City back line potentially and where Gvardiol fits in for that. So for that reason, I probably would actually say avoid Gvardiol for me personally. I just think with them signing Ait-Nouri ahead of this competition, it does worry me a little bit as to where he's actually going to slot in. Is he going to be at the left back, where he's obviously going to be putting those marauding runs in and definitely going to be worth the value, or is he going to be sat at centre back where he actually loses quite a lot of his value? Looking at the other defenders then, obviously Inter, Denzel Dumfries is definitely going to be a very good option with those clean sheet numbers. His attacking numbers as well this season have been fantastic. Chelsea have got some great defenders under 5% as well. You can actually pick up Levi Colwell with a 56 and a 63% chance in 1 and 3. Maybe worth a little bit of a look. But Juve are the team I would actually be looking to invest in. Cambiasso, De Gregor, currently both under 5%. Especially Cambiasso, some really, really good attacking numbers from this season. You can also go and get Kelly at 4.7 if you are looking for a budget, cheap defender to, of course, slot within your side as well. If you're just looking for match day 1 picks as well, Flamengo have some pretty decent defenders. River Plate as well, some pretty cheap defenders that you could actually get a little bit out of. Like I said, maybe if you're playing the fan team game where you pretty much get unlimited wildcards, or, of course, you are looking to hit that wildcard button in match day 2 as well. So you're pretty much covered there. Like I said, that was the data from 11FI. If you want to go and check it out for yourself in the description, I will leave a link to their amazing website. But let's head on over into my final draft for match day 1. Okay, so let's dive into my final draft for match day 1. Let's start off first with my goalkeeper pairing. It is going to be Martian and Armani. If you've watched any of my FPL content or any of my Champions League content or even any of the Club World Cup content, I'm just not a big fan of goalkeepers. I think they've obviously got their limited upsides, and I think maybe trying to get a goalkeeper that is under 5% might be the play for this. Of course, getting that additional scouting bonus if they do score more than 4 points. Armani isn't going to fit that bracket. I believe he's quite highly owned. Yeah, 14.1, but no real surprise there, being a good, decent option at 4 million. But Martian, It looks like Ramiro's going to miss the opening game for this tournament. 1.7% selected, so if I do need to require him within the side, obviously once Armani's played, we could potentially get ourselves a little bit of scouting bonus as well. Moving into the back line, we've got Akimi, a player that's been pretty solid and set since I made my first initial draft, but I am a little bit unsure whether or not I'm going to keep him come the final game. He's still one of those players that I am umming and ahhing whether or not I do want to have him for match day 1. Of course, match day 2 against Botafogo, he is a player that I absolutely want to have in there, but as we saw from the 11FI numbers, it's not looking too great for PSG in that opening fixture against Atletico Madrid. Some of the comments from Simeone as well, suggesting that they're going to go full strength, try and win this tournament as well, does put me off potentially going for PSG players in this opening fixture. And obviously with the game having a limited minus at -3 rather than -4 with usual fantasy games, and all players scoring an additional 1 point if they get themselves a goal or sort of any sort of involvement, I definitely think it is worth being a little bit more kind of pro hit, taking a little bit more of hits, and I'm definitely looking at maybe like a -6, maybe even a -9, and maybe Akimi is one of those players that makes way for match day 1. We pick a defender that has a better fixture there, obviously try and target the differential bonus as well, under 5%, then look to, of course, bring him in for match day 2. Then we've got Mora, obviously one of the best kind of budget enabling defenders you can get yourselves within the game. 4.1, 13 goal involvements in 31 games. Does any more need to be said? Obviously, if you are looking for that budget defender, he is going to be the pick. Next up is going to be Cambiasso, obviously really good numbers for Juve. We saw their clean sheet data from the 11FI models as well, looking pretty stupendous. And at the time of me recording, he currently finds himself under 5% owned. Whether or not that is going to be the case may potentially differ as we get closer and closer to the deadline. He's currently hovering around 4.9%, so I do think his chances of staying under 5% are definitely limited, and he will be one of those players that if he does go above 5%, I do think we might potentially look to switch him out for maybe Svensson from Dortmund. Again, the clean sheet numbers aren't the greatest at 32% from the 11FI numbers, so maybe again we do look for a potential other alternative under 5%, because I do believe that is going to be a great route to points for the defenders. If they've got a decent clean sheet number and find themselves under 5%, I think that's a little bit of a cheat code, really, because if they keep a clean sheet, they're just going to get an additional 2 points for doing nothing extra. Of course, he's one of those attacking players, scored for Italy the other night as well, so I do really like him as a pick, but like I said, as long as he does stay under 5%. Denzel Dumfries, 11 goals, 5 assists across the group. Inter should be looking to keep as many clean sheets as possible. Whether or not the new manager is going to change things, we're going to have to wait and see, but it is being reported that he's going to stick with the wing-back system, which of course has suited Inter so well this season. Very unfortunate to miss out on the league and of course the Champions League as well. Then finally we've got Kelly. Like I said, those Juve defensive numbers from the 11FI model are looking very, very good. He currently finds himself at, I believe, like 2% ownership. What is he now? 2.6% ownership. Like I said, the opening 2 fixtures are really good. 4.7 million. If he manages to keep a clean sheet, he's going to pick up an additional 2 points for not really doing much else, which was exactly what we want to see from this game. Let's head on then into the midfield. As you can see, we've got 2 Bayern players. Now, I definitely think Elise is going to be a lock in here. Absolute gem, 27 goal involvements in 34 games. His expected goal involvement is 0.85 per 90 in the Bundesliga this season, which is phenomenal. So he's going to be a lock. The other position, Musiala, is changing on a day-by-day basis, getting the news that we've got. Obviously, we've seen the squad that has been submitted from Bayern now for the Club World Cup. You want to go and check that out. It is on their Twitter. But it includes the likes of Sane, Gnabry, Muller, Musiala. There's so many players that could, of course, slot into that additional slot there. And I do believe it is just going to be based off reliable predicted lineups that we get from Bayern. I still believe targeting this fixture, even if a player maybe doesn't start the game, if we get a little bit unlucky, the information that we get is incorrect, they still could do some serious damage. 180 to 1. By the way, it was 90 to 1 last week. It's gone up to 180 to 1 now, which suggests to me that the bookmakers know something. They know that Bayern probably going to go quite strong for this opening game. Maybe they've seen a leaked lineup or they've got some information. But yeah, 180 to 1. My goodness gracious me, we've really got to be targeting Auckland City. So that's why we've gone for the double up. Like I said, that Musiala position is ever changing. There is an alternative draft that I do have that doesn't include him and only actually has 2 Bayern defenders. We'll come on to take a look at that in a second. But yeah, I really, really want to target this fixture. Like I said, the betting markets, the projected goal numbers from 11FI and the betting markets as well are suggesting just a heavy Bayern win. Next up is going to be Cole Palmer. Again, he's just a talisman. I absolutely love them. Penalties, free kicks, corners. Yep, he's your man for that. Pretty decent fixture against LA. I believe they've now gone up to around 10-1 to win that game. So Chelsea heavy favourites heading into that one. Then we've got Diarasa. Again, another player who is absolutely shining at the start of the Brazilian Serie A season. 11 goal involvements in 8 games so far. Again, penalties, corners, free kicks. Again, just fits that talisman profile that I absolutely love to see. Next up, we have Franco. Again, if he manages to stay at River Plate is the big concern here. If he does, he will be the best enabler in the game. 8 goal involvements in 12 games for River Plate so far. Of course, it's being reported by Fabrizio Romano that he is signed for Real Madrid. There's now just the question of who he's actually going to play for the Club World Cup. There's some reports suggesting that he's going to stay with River Plate and then join Real Madrid in August. There are some reports suggesting that he is going to join ASAP and will play for Real Madrid. If that is the case, completely rules him out as an asset. If he stays at River Plate though, 4.3 million for a free kick taker, a penalty taker and a corner taker. My God, sign me up. An absolutely delicious fixture as well in match day 1. And like I said, has the ability to be one of the best enablers we've ever seen in a fantasy game. Let's move on then to our forwards. As you can see, we've actually got 4 to talk through here because, of course, we do have the 12th man active with Erling Haaland. So let's start off with him first then. Casablanca have the second largest odds of winning behind Auckland City in their 180-1. You've obviously got Casablanca at 33-1. So even there, you feel like Haaland could be a flat track bully and absolutely go and destroy these. I think it's just a really great one to target. His ownership as well isn't too high. It actually won't let me see it, but I don't believe it's too high. I reckon it's just under 20% the last time I took a look at that one. And like I said, the Manchester City projected goal numbers on the 11-5 model are currently sat second as well. So it's all boding well for a Manchester City win. And again, he fits that talisman profile that I always look to target. Next up, we have got Samu from Porto. 30 games, 19 goals, 3 assists. Again, another absolutely fantastic enabler within the game. Coming in at 4.2 million. You're not going to find a better forward at that price point for me. So I definitely think he is a very, very strong option to have if, of course, you are looking for a cheap budget enabler. I mean, the whole Porto side is pretty much littered with them, to be honest. And he's another one that shines through. Kane's going to be in here. And the reason I've not gone for Kane on 12th man and actually had him in the starting lineup is because I want to captain him. Again, it's all about the talisman, and that is what I like to look at in terms of my captain. Who are those players that take the penalties? Who are those players that, if that team scores, usually has some sort of involvement? That is Harry Kane. 38 goals this season, 11 assists. Like, it's just absolutely unreal from Harry Kane. Got to be in there for me. Scored over the international break with England as well. Yeah, it's just an easy one, isn't it, having Harry Kane in there? And that's why I want to give him the armband ahead of obviously putting him in as the 12th man. Kylian Mbappe, under obviously new management, 41 goals, 5 assists. Again, it's not the easiest fixture, but the betting markets and the 11-5 numbers are still projecting a strong Real Madrid win for that one. And then after that, we do have the Pachuca game, which I obviously want to have him available for because I think he's going to be an absolutely fantastic captaincy option in match day 2 as well. So that is how the team is currently looking, my final draft. Of course, I do have an alternative draft if we find out, you know, that the news regarding the buy-in of a midfielder isn't as good. So let me quickly bring that up for you right now. As you can see on screen, this is the alternative draft that I am working with. So we would drop down Samu and we bring in the other Porto cheap midfielder. It is Mora coming in at 4.2 million. He would slot in there and we would bring Garassi in for his fixtures of Fluminense, Sundowns and Ulsan HD. A pretty good lineup to say the least as well. I've seen quite a few projected numbers as well around Garassi. They're looking pretty good across this whole group stage. I do believe this team has a little bit of money left in the bank. Yeah, 0.3. So we've got obviously room to make other improvements as well. But I think the big things heading into our team selection, of course, the deadline is going to be getting a decent buy-in predicted lineup and also finding out what is happening with Franco. Is he going to be joining Real Madrid, or is he going to be staying at River Plate? Those are the big things that could change my draft, and of course my team selection ahead of the deadline stream. I will be doing one of those around about 10, half 9 UK time, 2 hours before the deadline. So of course, if you've got any questions, I can answer them there, and of course review your teams and just help you out in general heading into this tournament. Be sure to like the content, and like I said, hit that subscribe button. But thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 1.